Okay, ready? Rolling? You must have heard this. That quintessential, ubiquitous South Indian expression, aiyo, has entered the Oxford English Dictionary, OED for short. Now, when the news broke, I was as excited as any true-blood English aspiring South Indian. But as it sinks in, I'm worried. In fact, the more I think about it, I'm more than worried. I'm mortified. And let me make it clear, I'm not one of those who is OCD about OED. I'm concerned because being pitchforked up there in the holy grail of the English language somehow grandstands this commonest of our expressions, kinds of showcases it puts it out of reach, much like a wildflower growing by the wayside being thrust into an intimidating ornate vase. Also because it somehow seems to me that it's kind of appropriation, a cribbing, a kind of fixing, a taming of what is essentially a very flexible, protean, open-ended word south of the Vindhyas. Aiyo, in fact, is not even a word, it's a sound, or better still, a sound effect. An onomatopoeic effusion which conveys far more than 1,000 words. It is our pan-Dravidian identity. It gives context to our moods, it gives meaning to our lives, and it serves about just any occasion or situation. Aiyo, it's an on-the-fly taking note of a minor commission or omission, much like the word oops in the English language, except that it's far, far more versatile. Aiyo, I forgot my keys. Aiyo, the traffic is rather heavy. Aiyo, I forgot to call Ashok or Reena, whoever. Aiyo, I have to fill gas, or I have to charge my mobile. You get the drift, right? Aiyo, that's a good surprise. Aiyo, that's a delightful surprise. Aiyo, that's a kind of innocent surprise. In fact, you can discover more and more ways of being surprised with different renditions of aiyo. Aiyo, that's the bad news. Aiyo, that's the tragic news. Aiyo, that's to a personal tragedy or loss of a dear one. Aiyo, that's to forgetfulness. Aiyo, that's in pity or sympathy with someone. Aiyo, that's after a full meal, if you like. Aiyo, that's after jogging instead of walking, which is what you're used to. Aiyo, that's to discovering you've not turned the flame down or off and the milk is boiled over. Aiyo, that's a rude surprise by someone. Aiyo, that's when you can't suffer someone. Aiyo, that's when the dog, which is supposed to be friendly, snaps at your ankles. Aiyo, that's when you're physically hurt. Aiyo, that's when you're tortured in police custody. That happens to the average Indian citizen. And the more average you are, the likelihood the more vulnerable you are. Aiyo, that's a kind of mock collapse. Aiyo, that's when you break out in sweat from a nightmare or a bad dream. Aiyo, that's when you want to tease someone close-ish of the opposite sex. Aiyo, that's when you want to taunt rather than tease someone close-ish of the opposite sex. Aiyo, 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 aiyo. That's when you want to sound solicitous and craven about the narration of a superior, which is essentially mediocre. Aiyada, that's a kind of put-down of someone who's trying to take you for a ride. Aiyada, that's just a variation of the thing. And this isn't anywhere near an exhaustive list of the kind of aiyos in operation out there. In fact, this is very Malayali-centric. There are as many or more variations of aiyos in Tamil, Telugu and Kannada. I'm not sure that the OED can do justice to the multiplicity of meanings that this elusive catch-me-if-you-can word can convey, nor whether accent on the first or the second syllable of this two-syllabic word can change its meaning. So there. This is a declaration of defiance on behalf of aiyo against being codified by the OED. Aiyo shall not just be another entry in that humongous tome. It shall roam free and continue to make new meaning every time it rolls off the tongue of another South Indian, whose birthright and copyright it continues to be and will be. In fact, English has to unleash a host of words to get anywhere near aiyo, like oops, boy, yikes, hell, oh my gosh, and more frequently rather inelegant ones like shit, aiyo.